Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I am your host today, Jared Timms, and I am joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, only one tonight, Nate Green. Nate Green, how are you doing? 4-0 this weekend, 4-0 against Little League teams again. Once you get into league, you'll realize that the NAIA is not this easy, and this is why Vanguard is always ranked really high, because you guys play Little League teams. Pick to play normal teams.
We've had the same schedule as you guys so far. So, I mean, for the most part, we've been playing the same schedule as you guys. But it was fun. We got to play in the Angels minor league field this weekend in spring training. No Angels there, but there were some minor leaguers there, of course. But yeah, really fun to be on that field, and it would have been really cool to do a live podcast from there. That would have been awesome. But we did decide to take a break since I was gone for a couple days and got back early this morning. But congratulations to the Rams.
Yes, let's start that off now. The Big Brother podcast, the sister podcast, whatever you want to call it, Rams Talk. Congratulations to you guys, our CEO, founder of Talking Halos, Derek Ciapala. Those who have listened to this podcast for a while know him well. Was the host well before me, created Talking Halos. I believe he also created Rams Talk as well. Congratulations to the Rams. Congratulations to everybody that's a Rams fan that listens as well. Didn't really grow up watching too much football, just a little bit. Like, I like certain players. Like, I'm a big Tom Brady fan. Those of you who know me know that I do like Tom Brady. I think he is just a specimen. I wouldn't really say that he's great. I'm just kidding. He is.
He wins.
He's a specimen. He's a specimen. He wins. He finds a way to win. So that's actually a fantastic starting point here. And as you guys all know, I like to start this podcast off with a question for you, Nate. Simple one, maybe. Goodell or Manfred?
I can't believe this is an insult to Roger Goodell. I think you owe him an apology for even mentioning him in the same sentence as Rob Manfred. Yeah, I think that this one is a no-brainer. Goodell has been great for the NFL. He's really done a great job trying to make the game safer, but also more entertaining. He does a really good job of allowing guys to market themselves, and he does a great job of marketing the NFL and, allowing betting to happen and things like that. He's just done a really good job with the main core issues, and he's really stuck to the main core issues. He has not tried to change the game that much. Maybe a little tweak here to overtime, a little tweak here to interference, things like that. But yeah, he has not gone in and said, all right, I'm going to change the entire way the NFL works, and I'm going to just be a complete jerk to work with.
Oh, 100%. And like you look at it and like I understand why Goodell was disliked at first, because it was like, we're changing the game, and like that's not something that you want to do is change the game. But when you look at the NFL it almost felt like needed to be changed in a sense. And you look at Major League Baseball and it's like, yes, there are things that need to be changed, but nothing that Rob Manfred has changed needed to be changed in a sense. Like universal DH, that's fine. We're cool with that. Like, there are going to be the traditionalists that don't like it. But I think that in the end of the day, it creates more offense. Like, if you wanted to create more offense, the first thing you got to do is just bring the DH to the NL. Right away, you create more offense. Like, it's that simple. You don't need new balls. You don't need to stop testing for steroids. You don't need any of this stuff. You don't need to take the sticky stuff away from pitchers. You just need to bring the DH to the NL. You're going to increase your runs by, I don't know, what, 200 a year on it. I don't know if it's actually that much. It probably will be. I'm probably going to be 400 more runs this year. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think about that. But yeah, super interesting. It was, I guess, kind of like a hypothetical question too, because Goodell was hated at first. Like, you look at it and a lot of people dislike what Goodell was doing, but Manfred, like, has never been liked, will never be liked. And like, it just continues. Like, there hasn't been one, like, can you think of one good thing that Manfred has done? You can't think of one thing. Like, and you can't even put like the universal DH on him either, because that's something that's been talked about for years. Like, at least with my C League, like, C League actually did stuff to the game to help it out. Like, Manfred is just doing the exact opposite to make the game Like, I don't know. Like, Rob Manfred is the reason why the MLB is in a lockout right now. Like, there is no other reason to that. Like, you can blame the owner, sure, but like the decisions that Manfred has made down the road has ultimately come down to this. And I know that he represents the owners, and the owners and Manfred are the same basically, but it's just not a good representative to have.
The only way that people will start to appreciate Manfred is when he allows himself to resign. Once he resigns, then people will be happy with Rob Manfred, and that will be the best thing he has ever done in the sport of baseball.
Oh, 100%. Like, there hasn't been one good thing. Like, you look at it, like,
That will be it.
it
That will
will be
be
like
it.
when Rob Manfred resigns, that will be the best thing to happen to baseball. Like, you can complain about Artie, you can complain about the owners, you can complain about whatever, but at least, like, and you can't get worse than Manfred. Like, you can put anybody else there. Like, you don't have to have a player as the commissioner. You don't have to have like a former player. You don't have to have, you don't have to have a lawyer. You don't have to have somebody that doesn't know baseball at all, like Rob Manfred does. You just need somebody to represent the owners a little bit better and not screw up every little thing that, like, he says, like literally everything like he's done in the past 2 years in a sense, and has just not been good. So
You want
this
to know
is
what's sad?
what.
I think Scott Boras would do a better job.
Well, so here's the thing. Here's the thing with that.
That's rough.
Here's the thing
That
with
Scott
that though.
Boras
Like,
could do a better job.
would Scott Boras actually, like? So this is my thought on this, and it's kind of an interesting thought.
That's
Do you
rough.
start having two commissioners? You have one commissioner to represent the owners, and you have another commissioner to represent the players. Granted, that's already what Tony
I
Clark
was
is.
gonna
Tony
say
Clark
that's what
doesn't.
it is.
Yeah, Tony Clark doesn't get that say that he does. Like, Tony Clark should be like, it should be almost like in a sense, like a one-on-one meeting. Like, Tony Clark should be meeting with Rob Manfred in a sense. Like, I know that's
That's how it's supposed to
supposed to
happen.
go, but like,
But it doesn't happen that way because Manfred thinks he has more power than he does.
exactly.
So he he just kind of does whatever he wants. But in an ideal world, yes, Tony Clark would have a little bit more say in some of the nonsense that Manfred does, kind of like the automated strike zone in AAA. Like that, that's the worst place for it. If you're so gung ho about having an automated strike zone, which I think is terrible for the game, put it in high A. Let the kids who just get drafted, let them go to rookie ball in low A and figure out how to play professional baseball. And then once they get to low A or high A, excuse me, let them use the automated strike zone. Fine. But don't put it in AAA where you got a guy who's, maybe you have a guy who's terrible ERA because he, isn't getting calls that he normally does, and maybe he doesn't get called up. Or you got a guy who's hitting 350 because he's getting extra half inch off the plate that he normally doesn't get. He gets called up and gets absolutely shredded in the show because
Yeah.
they're calling that pitch that they're not calling in AAA. So terrible move, and that's something that Tony Clark should be involved with. But I think we should move on before we get too upset on Rob Manfred.
Well, I mean, this is what this podcast is going to be about, by the way. So if you guys are interested in Rob Manfred and the CBA, that's what we're talking about today. And we can just like kind of start it right off the bat here. I don't even want to do any introductions. You know who I am. You know where to follow us. You know to subscribe. Press the subscribe button if you're watching us. But let's just jump right into it. Honestly, like let's start. Since we have a really good flow going here with this complaining thing that we have going on, we are not complainers by any means. We understand. We get both sides of arguments a lot of the times. But you want to know what really grinds my gears? This minor league situation. Again,
Oh, I texted you right away. I was
really?
not happy with that.
No,
I
you
texted you
like
right away
so.
on
So
that.
so you go back. I guess right at the pandemic, around that time there was the talk about getting rid of minor league teams to make sure that you're able to spend more money on your minor leaguers. I don't know if that was the initial thought, but that's what was said.
Yep.
Was making the minor leagues a better place in a sense. That's not happening. like
No.
the MLB all of a sudden just comes out of nowhere and says, "Hey, our minor leaguers that are going to spring training camp here really soon, all of actually not just minor leaguers, all of Major League Baseball that's on minor league contracts that are not on the 40-man roster will be at minor league spring training here in the next couple days, couple weeks, looking to report." And all of a sudden, MLB does not want to pay them to be there. Like, like I think the best thing that I heard out of this whole thing was, what are we running, an unpaid internship now?
Yep.
Like, is the minor leagues now an unpaid internship? Like, oh, like, we're not going to pay you, but you get the experience. Like, put this on your resume. Like, hey, you just came to spring training. Congratulations. Like
1 month out of the year too. Like, okay, they're not getting the same training in March, April, May, June when they're actually playing. So what do we have coaches for if they're not doing anything in March, April, May, June? They only coach in February in spring training. Like,
are
come
the
on,
the coach is not going to be there. Like, our scouts
come
not
on.
going to be at minor league spring training. I mean,
This is
come on,
absolutely a
actually.
joke. Honestly, this is a joke. The MLB should just leave minor leaguers alone. Like, you
No,
can only, honestly, you couldn't have done anything worse for minor leaguers, and somehow you did. Like, nobody could have thought of this. Not one person was like, if you could really make the minor leagues worse, there's only one thing you can do, and it's take money from them. It's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's take money away from the minor leaguers who already make 50 cents a week.
yeah,
It's a
no,
great idea.
100%. We've got a lot of friends that have been in the system. We have a lot of friends. We know a lot of people that have been in the system, and it's tough. We've heard a lot of crazy, weird stories, and confirmed stories too. Of people living in motorhomes, people living, like in the clubhouse for a while. Like that's been their home, is the clubhouse. Um, so yeah, that's just kind of like, it's tough. Like, I think we're just going to complain a lot this podcast, because I have more to complain about, in a sense, and on the fan side of things too. But yeah, it's really, really tough. The number that the owners came up with was $2,200 a week is what the players are valued at. $2,200 a week. That's not even like, and by the way, if you're putting it in a 40-hour work week, because I think these guys are actually working more than 40 hours in a sense. They get there at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and they leave at about 2 o'clock. I don't know if that's a 8-hour work week. But you do the math on that. It's $55. $55. I don't know if you're doing the math there. I saw you
No,
looking.
I was actually doing math for something else, which is hilarious. Um, so $2,200 a week, right?
Hmm.
You multiply that by 52 because that we'll just say that's how many weeks are in a year. It's over 100 grand, right?
Yeah.
They don't make 100 grand.
No. No.
So what are we talking about?
That's what that's what the value is of it.
So
That's
so the
that's the
value so
value of minor league spring training per
so
week
so then
per
the
player.
value of a player per season should be the same number at minimum. At minimum.
So I mean, you do it times 6 or 7, correct? Times 6 or 7. I know that's kind of tough. But you do it times 6 or 7, because players, I don't think, get paid when they're not in season, which is a little bit interesting,
Well, yes,
of a thing. But yes, no, 100%.
but
Like that
but
like
still,
that is
that's
not
still
a
way
very
more money.
difficult thing. That's not a difficult thing to get to, though, either, as owners. Like, you just that's like, it just. And I think this hits us at home, because we have a lot of friends that have been through this. We have a lot of people that we know have been through this. I mean, friends in the Angels organization right now, like, they're like, I do the covering. Like, I talked to Taylor Blake Ward about this, and on a lot of the times, and a lot of times, like, it's hard to put your feelings aside, in a sense. Like, like, a lot of these guys are friends. Like, we talk to a lot of these guys on the side, and a lot of them, will come to us about stuff too. But a lot of this stuff, it's tough. Like, it's tough to hear that players are living in motorhomes. It's tough to hear that side of things. So
It's
I don't know,
still
man.
over. By the way, I did the math for if you're just doing it per season. It's still over 70,000, or yes,
Not
over
difficult.
70,000, which is still more than what the players make. Like, most of these guys are making $25,000 a year.
Minor leagues. It should be low. If you start the season off in low A, you're making a minimum of 40,000. Start the season off in high A, it's 45, 50, whatever you want to go to there. But like, if you have a correct salary, like if you give a guy an actual salary of like 40 or something like that, and of course, like, if you let him go, then, like, obviously he's not getting paid. It's like getting fired, in a sense. But like, it's not difficult in the minor leagues. Like, stop screwing over minor leaguers. I think this is all we really have on this. I don't know. Do you have anything else?
Yeah,
Because I
no,
think that was just a rough situation there.
yeah, no. Let's just move on. This has nothing to do with MLBPA. So
Yeah, no, it does not. But that was something that came out over the weekend, and we didn't really get to talk about it. And I feel like we need to get it off our chests. So next order of business, we both have different thoughts on what happened on Friday. Was it when they had this? Was it Friday that they talked?
Yeah, yeah.
Friday, Friday,
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning, something like that. Over the
Saturday
week.
morning, because there was a chance that if it got done on Saturday, we were playing on the actual Angels uh, spring training complex field. So we were kind of hoping that it was going to get done, but it was a joke.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. As in, if I can quote Jeff Passan, a deal was never going to happen. However, though, before we get into like the two main things of this, what Major League Baseball came in and proposed, we both have different thoughts on it, and I think I want to kind of give our thoughts on this first. And my thought is that at least MLB came in wanting to discuss something. And your thought is 100% valid as well. You can look at it that way. And I
Yeah,
totally agree. I do agree. I do agree with it, by the way. But you can look at it in the way that I thought of it as well, as like, this is kind of a stepping stone. Like there was never going to be a deal. We knew this, but it's a stepping stone in the right direction in a sense. You look at it and like, at least they came in and they talked about something, at least the players weren't completely unhappy. Like there were a couple of players, I think, in there that were like, oh, this actually isn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. So at least it was a little, like it was a step in like the right direction. If you saw my tweet, it's an inch forward is better than 2 inches back. It seems like that's what we had been doing, is just kicking backwards, and it felt like we kind of moved forward just a smidge, like just an inch, in a sense. And there could be something in there. But I also agree with your side of looking at how this how this proposal came in. So you can kind of give your side of it too.
yeah, absolute waste of time. Honestly, these guys are going to meet with them. They're spending time out of their own, off season to go meet with the owners and Rob Manfred. And the owner said, "Yeah, we'll make you an offer, but we have no reason to believe that a deal is going to get done today." And honestly, just for fun, I looked up the definition of negotiating in good faith. And it says, negotiating in good faith means a serious and honest effort on the part of each party to reach an agreement. That does not sound like the MLB right now.
No. Well, you
It,
know who needed to bring in a
it doesn't.
mediator? You know who needed to bring in like the mediator? It wasn't the owners that need to bring it in. It was the players that need to bring it in, so the owners can understand what the hell's going on, because the owners don't know either. Like I said, I think it's this little step in the right direction. I think like at least we got a proposal. But I totally understand your side too, where it's like
Kind of.
just come to the table with a deal that makes sense. Stop trying to nickel and dime everything to death, and we'll go over the three things. Evan Drellich had, a little, like, has 3 tweets that kind of summarize their whole proposal. But yeah, no, like I totally get your side, 100%. Like I get it, and I like to look at
It
the box.
doesn't. It doesn't have to be the best offer in the world. Like, I'm not saying you have to go out here and like meet every demand that the players are asking for, but just make an offer that you think, hey, so we know the ML we know the players want, draft pick compensate, or they want draft pick lottery. So that's one thing they want. Maybe you throw that in there. They want a higher minimum salary for the first year players. Maybe you throw that in there and you say, hey, we've given you these 2 things. Now we're going to keep these 2 things.
Yeah.
Like that's all we're asking for. Just make it look like you're trying. And
Yeah.
right now, it looks like Rob Manfred is running the same stupid games he's been running for 3 years now. Since the pandemic started, he came out and said, "Oh, I'm just going to continue to jack these guys around until this exact date, because I know this exact date I have to force them to agree to my demands." And it's like, are we just going to continue to do this? Like, that's not negotiating in good faith.
Yeah.
It's not. And it's bad for baseball. It's bad for everything. Nobody's going to want to watch baseball if Rob Manfred is still in charge of this clown show of a freaking thing that he's got going on. It's unbelievable.
I love it, Nate. I love it.
I'm in a bad mood talking about
Fantastic.
Rob
I can see
Manfred.
that. I can see that. I can see that.
He pisses me off.
Your 4-0 weekend didn't do it, huh? Against little league teams.
We played bad.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Like, and I like to take the optimistic approach of this and say, like, there was a little bit of like a movement. Like, you got a proposal, you got something. The players weren't happy, but it was like, oh, like at least they came to us with something. Like, it wasn't crazy, but like let's just go over what was kind of said. So the three big key pieces here that came out of this, they increased the pre-arbitration bonus pool from 5 million to 15 million. I think the players last came in at 105, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
something like that,
it's
105.
pretty close. It's pretty
So
close.
we're getting there. We're getting there. Like,
Just give a realistic number.
yeah,
Like we're not asking for 105, but at
if we're
least
doing
for
this,
50.
if we're doing this all like this, these conversations should have started on December 1st. You know,
And
if we're going
if we're gonna
a
play this
million
stupid
dollars,
game,
yeah, $5 million at a time, you know, by each side, it's like you're gonna have to they'll find the middle eventually.
they're never going to. We'll be August 15th if they're ever gonna find the middle.
I mean, you won't have a season if you're trying to find the middle. So, at the moment, the pre-arbitration pool went up from 5 to 15. The players, I believe, are at 105. I think is what the last one was. So, still a large gap there. I think that's the largest gap that we're looking at here. Again, another lousy thing that this proposal came up with was the threshold each season, the salary cap in a sense. Not that there's really a salary cap, but the
The
salary
luxury
threshold,
tax.
luxury tax, whatever you want to call it. You know, if you spend above it, you get taxed a whole bunch, and nobody ever wants to go to it, and the owners are scared of it in a sense. They don't want
Not the
to.
Dodgers, but
Yeah, everybody but the Dodgers,
or the
everybody who
Yankees.
doesn't want to win, you know, everybody who wants to try to tank and continue to save money in a sense. That went up a little bit. So previously, by year, it's supposed to be 214 million, 214 million, 214 million, 216 million, 220 million, up to 2027, if my math is correct on that, over the next 5 years. The proposal came out and said 214 million next year, 214 million the year after that, 216 million the year after that, 218 million the year after that, and 222 million the year after that. So we're going up $2 million each year, basically, besides the first 2 years. So besides 2021 and 2022, it would stay at 214 at that luxury tax and go up a little bit from there. Again, if we're going to be doing this shit, if we're doing this
Still
shit
30
all,
million. Still 30 million away from what the players asked for. The players asked for 250. And, honestly, how hard would it be to meet in the middle and say 240 and say, you know what, we're going to go from
I think the
two,
players would be happy at 230. If you just say this season, if you just say this season we're going to start and keep it at 230
220
for the next five
or
years,
even go up to like 225 this year and then go up to
the perfect
230 the next year. Like,
100%.
how hard is that?
Oh yeah, and I
Instead of
apologize.
playing this stupid game of, hey, how about we go up 1 million a year for 7 years? And then eventually it'll be $7 million more than what it was today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just just put it at 230. No one's going to touch that except for the teams that want to go out and try to win. So just put it at 230, like, or don't even have it. Like, nobody cares about it. It's literally just something so that the owners don't have to spend money. And let me just backtrack. What I was apologizing wise, because somebody sent me a tweet saying we're starting a drinking game for every time Jared says 100%. And I've been saying that a lot. Like, I've been catching myself say it a lot. So I'm going to try my best not to say it. But if you want to play that drinking
You
game,
guys are schmammered
you
already, and
guys, yeah,
we're halfway through the show.
you guys are having a tough time right now with me saying 100%. So let me just get it all.
Again, there you go again.
100%, 100%, 100%. That is 5 shots. Go have fun with that, fellas. Um, having a good time here. So, but yeah, like, meet people in the middle. That's all you got to do. Like, just, it's not difficult. Like, this part of the proposal, like, these three parts of the proposal are the ones that get us the most. Like, yes, the proposal came out here, but it was like
Again,
nothing.
a
Like,
waste
we're
of
just
time.
nickel and diming it.
Waste of time.
Waste of time. Last big thing here that this proposal came with was one. Well, they gave two possible scenarios for a league minimum. The first one was a league minimum of 300 or 630,000 dollars. Sorry, dyslexic here. Flipping numbers around that I shouldn't be. $630,000 as a flat
120K
rate.
under.
Yes, as a flat rate. The players wanted 9, 8 something.
I thought it was 750 was like the
750.
one that they were okay with.
750. That's fine. That's fine. And 750, that's close. Like you're in that range
That's
there.
120K off. That's a
You're
lot of money.
you're close though, at least. Like this is the closest one. These last two are the closest ones to me. Like we can figure this out, you know. Like you're
Maybe
close-ish, you know.
if the
Um,
MLB doesn't go up, 50 cents a day.
yeah. And then the second proposal to the wow, I can't think right now, to the league minimum would be a tiered league minimum. So if you have 0 to 1 service years, you are at $615,000.
Mhm.
So you're under. Um, if you are 1 to 2 service years, you are at $650,000. If you are 2 to 3, you're at 725, and it increases in 2 to 3.
That's terrible.
You think
Because
that's terrible?
yes, because first of all, not only does that give the owners more control of, hey, we were going to let you play, in the big leagues from day one, but now we're going to make you wait till day, 7, so we can make sure you make 20K less
Mm-hmm.
because we care about $20,000 that much.
Yeah.
Even though they found that in their couch last night, and, threw it away because they wouldn't even pick that up.
Martinis. You're spending 20,000 on a martini.
They wouldn't even bend over to pick up 20K. But so now you're going to allow the owners to manipulate the service time even more. And now you're just basically telling teams, hey, you don't have to pay anyone. Like typically you get Mike Trout year 3, I believe, was the first time that he made $1 million. Right? I believe it was year 3 where he made $1 million. So now you're telling teams like, we have this tier system set up. This is what they asked for. Don't give them anything more than 720K or whatever the exact number was. I wasn't really listening. I just heard the owners was setting up a tier, and right when I heard that, it was like, great, more things for them to manipulate. It's an absolute joke, and it's a disgrace to baseball. It's a disgrace to sports, and it's a disgrace to billionaires everywhere that they are going to be this cheap. And if they're going to continue to do this, they're going to lose a lot of fans, and they are already the laughing stock of all pro sports right now. The NBA is ahead of it. The NFL is light years ahead of it. Pretty soon, soccer is going to take over. Hockey is going to take over.
I agree. I totally agree.
In the U.S., soccer and hockey are going to take over the MLB because they're going to continue to be this stupid and this pity. And Rob Manfred needs to go. And I think Marcus Stroman said it best. The dude's a man clown. He doesn't even deserve Fred anymore. No such thing as Fred. It's just clown. Man clown.
Wow.
I'm done.
Very good. Nate Green, take us away here. So yeah, no, I'm in full agreement with you. I think that, in granted, so you look at it from both sides here, and I'm going to kind of play mediator here just a little bit for us here, Nate, just a little bit. And I don't agree with it at all, by the way, but you got to. Players aren't going to get everything, right?
No,
You have to figure out what you want to fight for. And this last thing seems like it's the biggest, keep the tiers away, keep the, 1 to 2 year, 2 to 3 years, 0 to 1 year tiers away, and just take the minimum or the lower minimum salary, deal with that the next time, I get it. But what you just said, 100%, like you got to take those tiers away. Don't let it be with the owners. Don't let Artie Moreno handle this baseball team any more than he already does. Correct?
That's correct, but you give an inch, they're going to take a mile, and they're
Well,
going
we've
to see
seen that.
they're going to see this as a sign of weakness from the
No,
players of like, hey,
absolutely.
we just know they want to play. They want to play baseball now, and they don't want to negotiate. So we're just going to continue to take, and Tony Clark is going to be taken to the cleaners for the second time, third time
I don't think
in
so.
his
I think you got to find a happy medium.
tenure.
I do think you got to find a happy medium, and if you can keep the tiers away and you can keep the owners out of the game as much as possible, and Angels fans, us covering the Angels, understand this better than anybody out there. Dodgers fans don't understand this. Yankees fans don't understand this. But like the teams that their owners come in on their baseball teams, the Angels are a perfect example. Artie Moreno's in on a lot of stuff. We already know
The
this.
Mets.
The Mets. Granted, the Mets might be a little bit different because Steve Cohen wants to go out there and spend money and win. You know, like
Sure. But
that
he does
the
have
minor
full
leaguers don't
control.
matter. Yeah, but the
He has
minor
full
leaguers don't
control.
matter to him as much, and that's kind of a weird thing to say. But I don't think like that extra, $20,000 matters that much. Like I think Steve Cohen is saying the absolute least out of all of this stuff. Magic and his team, the owners for the Dodgers probably aren't saying much because they're going out there trying to win. The Yankees, Steinbrenner, you think Steinbrenner cares?
Win a
If it's
championship. That's
Steinbrenner,
it.
I forgot who the owner is anymore. But what is the goal here? To win a freaking championship. They want to go
Yeah.
out there and play in 2022. It's the other 27 teams
You
that are
have
out here trying
You're
to get
gonna have
it done.
Oakland and Tampa Bay who are absolutely going to take advantage of
100%.
this thing for
Artie's another
it,
one. Yes, he goes out there and spends money. Like, don't get us wrong. He definitely goes out there and
but
spends.
he does not treat minor leaguers well at all.
No, 100%. He does. He does not. 100%. And I'm in full agreement with that. And it is what it is. So I'll leave us with this stat before we get off. I think we kind of went a little bit long here, but Rob Manfred said in his own quotes, and I'll
Man
quote
clown.
this here, man clown. Yes, we can call him man clown from now on. That owning a major league baseball team is a risky investment. This is my final thought. This is our final thoughts. And I said this in a tweet,
It's
and I
pretty
have to say it
risky.
on this. It is a risky investment.
Mm-hmm.
Artie
Pretty
Moreno
risky.
bought the Angels in 2003 for $183.5 million from Disney. That's how much he bought them for. According to Forbes of March 2021, the Angels are worth $2.085 billion.
Sounds pretty risky to me. I don't know.
Incredibly risky. And
And
Rob
they
Manfred needs to go. Like, it's just as plain and simple as that. Like, if you cannot communicate the game nearly as well, like Rob Manfred doesn't understand the game. He does
well,
not understand it from the owner's standpoint. Rob Manfred doesn't understand it from the player's standpoint. You need to get somebody in there that understands it completely from the owner's standpoint, like that gets it, and that has been around the game. Get another owner in there. Get a former owner. Get somebody that wants to be in there, and doesn't just want to. I understand that the owners voted him in, and it is what it is. But you need somebody that communicates it better, because a lot of this stuff, Rob Manfred is sitting up here like just poking his prod at everybody. He's got the little devil horns and such like that, just poking his prod at poking everybody. Whether it's the players, whether it's the owners, and just completely making things clash and trying his best to keep baseball the center of attention, and it is not good attention right now. That is my full belief, is that Rob Manfred is doing this shit on purpose, and it is an absolute travesty. He is ruining the damn game right now. He
if
really, really is. So, Nate, you got any final thoughts before we let everybody go?
Artie did almost lose tens of thousands of dollars in 2020. It was almost bad
Well,
for him financially.
so no,
Come
100%.
on,
So
come
in
on.
2021,
And there we go, boys. That's another drink.
I'm sorry. Yeah, another drink, 100% right there. And there's another one
Just
for you. So, uh, in 2022, in 2021, I think Forbes had the Angels losing $33 million in revenue.
no,
So that's
don't
fair,
say there.
and I get that.
That's
100%.
so risky.
I said it.
One,
I gotta
you've
stop.
owned. He's owned the year for. He's on the team for almost 20 years. Almost. I think it's 20 years next year. And he's lost 30 million one time, and every other year he has gotten money.
If the owners are so worried, and this
I
is where
wish
I'm
I
gonna.
could do
This is
that.
this is my last thing. This is my very last thing. If the owners are so worried about money, sell your baseball teams.
Yep.
Sell your team if you're that worried about money. Bring somebody in that doesn't care about the money, because the money that you are gonna
Steve
make,
Cohen.
the money that, yes, bring in more Steve Cohens. I am all for Steve Cohen. Bring in all the Magic Johnsons. Bring in all the Steve Cohens. Bring in all of the George Steinbrenners. I know he's not there anymore. Bring in anybody who wants to win a championship. And I'm saying this as a player and as a fan, and as somebody looking at it from an owner standpoint. If you think that owning a Major League Baseball team is risky, sell your team right now. Right? Like, Artie Moreno can go out and make, at minimum, he's going to make $2 billion, right? Like, after taxes, you kick it down, he's probably at $1.5 billion. Like,
No,
we're
he's
talking
in
billion.
California, so it's like 1 billion.
Yeah, it's fine. He's making $1 billion. Like, oh, well, and he probably honestly can probably write it off. So
What's
he
he gonna?
probably can figure out a way to get quite a few $1 million back.
How's he gonna buy his fifth house with only $1 billion?
That's fair.
I'm over it. I'm over it. Manfred needs to go.
I'm with
I
it.
still think the hashtag needs to happen.
Hey, I started it. Manfred must go.
Yep.
You're welcome. So, guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast here at Talking Halos and making us the best Angels podcast out there. I truly do believe it. Let the takeover begin here at Talking Halos. Again, making us the best podcast out there. I truly do believe it. If you could, go ahead and subscribe wherever you're listening. Press that subscribe button below if you're watching us here on YouTube. Be fantastic for us. You can follow myself on Twitter at Jared_Tims. You can follow Nate at NateGreen34. And guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.